Hello YouTube fans, thank you for tuning into my channel today. I'm Darlene and we're going to get started with your reading very shortly. I'm going to shuffle. I know you can't see them, but I will also show you the cards as they come out later, although I don't look at these until after you'll get it. Not really looking at the cards when I talk to you in the first part of the reading, so pardon me, I'm still getting over COVID, so I apologize in advance. I've still got the cough going on, which seems to take forever. It's just what it is, what it is. All right, let's see. No, that. All right, those are ready. Hope everybody's doing well out there in the world. I know it's a tough time for the world right now in many ways, and I wish you all well in whatever you're dealing with. Okay, now I'm going to stop with those 6, and I'm not even turning. I know you can't see them, they're not turned over. I'm looking out the window here at the playground. But let me get right into this. I have a young woman coming through today, and this was a little bit heavy. You know, some are more than others. This young woman is coming through to talk to her mom, and this is the story as I'm being given it. She and I say young, I don't really get a sense of how young. She could have been in her teens or she could have been in her 20s. I'm not clear on that exactly, but she became pregnant, and I'm not getting a sense of presence from the father. So I don't know what happened there. She's just not giving me that as being relevant to the message she wants to bring through today. But she was alone, and her mother stepped up to help her through this pregnancy, and she stepped up in ways. She's telling me, excuse me, you can tell I'm still raspy voice here, so I might need to stop and get a little sip of water in a minute. She stepped up in ways that were, the daughter is saying, above and beyond. So I get the feeling that maybe she even, I don't know, something to do with her job. She either changed jobs so that she could be home more, or she quit her job so she could be home more, or something like that, that the mother made the choice to make a sacrifice in her life so that she could be home to help the daughter through this. But she said she was always such a great mom, and she was always there for me, and she's just really coming through saying so many lovely things about the mom. And that's who this reading, of course, is for, if I didn't say that already. Oh, and I forgot to get my business out of the way, y'all. Please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm just getting started here on YouTube. So if you like this kind of reading, because I never knew who I'm going to be bringing through. It could be your deceased loved ones. You know, I just sit down and Spirit brings through whomever. So if you like that kind of content, I try to release at least 1 video a week, sometimes 2. Typically on a Saturday, but anyway, and if you hit that notification bell, it'll tell you when I upload. So blah blah blah. Okay, back to business, or back to the reading. So the mom stepped up in a big way as she's telling me the story. She said the pregnancy was, you know, as pregnancies go, it was physically uneventful. She had a nice, healthy baby. And I'm only seeing her and the mom. I don't know, again, where where her father was. I don't know what happened there. She's not showing me that, or Spirit's not showing me that. Just that she's focusing on the mom, her, and now she has this infant child. But sadly, after some time, she bonds with the baby, and the baby dies. And I'm getting a message that this could have been SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. If you're not familiar, most of you are, I'm sure, of what that is. But if it wasn't that, it was something that just very suddenly, and the baby died. But after she'd had time, some weeks, I feel like, to bond with the infant. the both of you, and she's making that a point too, that it wasn't just her, it was the mom had also really bonded with this baby, and her mom, you the viewer, and she really, I think she'd had a hard time leading up to that, being a single mom, because I get that feeling very strongly that, again, the dad wasn't around for whatever ended up happening there. But the mom didn't shame her, she didn't pressure her, she didn't make her feel in any way less than during that whole time. And she's so, so grateful for that. And this is part of the message she wants to bring through, that I'm not sure she ever told you that, but she was very, very grateful that you never made her feel bad in any way, that this was just, okay, this is where you found yourself in life. We're going to all come together and, work to the resolution, which was, raising a healthy child. And so there was never really a question about her involvement or her commitment to that. You just knew that's who she was, and that's what she wanted to do for the daughter and the grandchild. It's just, again, an extension of who she was as a person, just a beauty. I'm talking about you, the viewer. But this young woman had a very, very hard time. I think she had tried to be very strong for you, the mom, but she hid from you how what's the word? Help me out, Spirit. She was shamed. So apparently I think maybe the father took off or whatever, and she was left to deal with this, but she felt shame. She'd lost her friends over this. So this, could have been a teenage pregnancy, but she doesn't feel like, she feels a little bit older, so maybe she was just a more mature soul. I don't know. There's something else she's trying to give me, so bear with me just a minute. She felt lied to and betrayed. There were people that she really believed would stand by her side and be there for her and, help her in all the ways that friends do, and those people weren't there, and they left for whatever reason. They felt justified in their own decisions or whatever. But she just felt very, very alone, except for you, the mom. But she was internalizing all of this. She didn't share a lot of that with you, or if she did, she made light of it. She didn't want you to be burdened with what she was feeling, because she knew how hard you were working to, I think, support her, and also and financially. And I think she was living with you, and the whole, when I say support, I mean in every way. Excuse me. And so I think she tried to hide that from you. Like I said, if she shared it at all, she shared very little of it. You didn't know the depth of her hurt that she was feeling over that. So then compound that with the death of the baby, and I feel, you, the viewer, the mom, you feel like you lost your daughter. And I asked about that. I felt like she died, was what I heard. Your daughter, the one who's coming through today. But I don't think, what I'm feeling is not that she died in that she took her own life. She could have, but the energy I'm feeling, and sometimes, y'all, I do get multiple storylines. This is kind of a general story, so there could be two sets of families that I'm reaching here. So if one of you has had that happen, then this could also be your story. But another storyline I'm getting is that this young woman could no longer bear. She was already embroiled in these feelings that she was internalizing, and then when she had when she lost the baby, it was just too much for her, and she basically went off the deep end emotionally and mentally. When I say mentally, I don't mean that she necessarily went crazy, but she started making very bad choices. And my sense is that she started doing drugs, and I'm hearing meth, and that route. She took that route. And so in that way, she was dead to you, in that you often didn't know where she was or who she was with, or even if she was alive or dead, and you just really had to, or maybe had found acceptance that these were the choices that she made. And then, of course, eventually, and she's not showing me how she died. Oftentimes spirits say that's not relative to the story. You don't need to talk about that. They just want you to talk about why they're here and what message they're trying to bring through. Excuse me. So she's not showing me how she died. Just that, I'm so sorry, excuse me. I do apologize. Just that she did obviously die, and now it's coming through to tell you this message. And the crux of the message, that she's able now on the other side to see more of your point of view and what you went through, and she's honoring you, and she's coming through to say, I had no idea. I was so wrapped up in my own emotions and so wrapped up in my own grief that I couldn't see how much you were grieving and what you were going through, because she can now see you were juggling life too. You were, dealing with your own stuff. And okay, thank you. Okay, there was an element, these changes that you made for her, again, I don't know if this was a job or a relationship or a location where you lived, or some sacrifices that you were making to take care of her when this happened, that you were mirroring each other, in that you didn't tell her how much that had impacted you. You were dealing with your own level of grief. And I'm even hearing some anxiety about, can I do this? How can I take care of all of the, her and this new baby, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. And so you were having your own emotional, internal battle with all of that, while she's having hers quietly, you were having yours quietly, and you were mirroring each other. But now that she's crossed over, she can see that more clearly. She can see that, she just thought you were just always that strong, and that you didn't feel things to the depths that now she understands that you did. But you never let on. She's making it very clear, you were always strong, you were always there for her, you were always the stand-up person. No matter what she was dealing with, no matter what, she knew she could always depend on you, and depend on you to be there for her and not judge her, even though you might not have approved, you might have been wish things had turned out differently for all the reasons that they could have, would have, should have, but you didn't make her feel, again, shamed or belittle her in any way. That you just loved her like a good, unconditional, loving mother would have done. And so that's what she wants to acknowledge today, that she didn't see how you had suffered. She didn't understand that. And then she's saying, and then when it was bad enough, she said now she sees what your struggle was, and you had to help take care of her and be her emotional support. And then not only that, you lost the baby too. She didn't understand that either at the time. She didn't understand that loss affected you as much as it, or maybe even more than it did her. That was a devastating loss for you as well. And so she's coming through with all of that, but also to say, and I was so selfish, Mom. I was so into my own grief and my own feelings that I couldn't see how then, on top of all of that, my death, which she's saying, it didn't feel like this group I'm talking to that went down the drug route, it didn't. If she died, it was not intentional from that path. Well, I mean, obviously she died, I don't mean that, but what I'm saying is, if it was a drug-related death, it was accidental. It wasn't intentional, I don't believe. Although, what's that? Although for some, yeah, they're saying it could have been accidentally on purpose. Like she just had no desire to live or carry on anymore. So from a deep state of depression, she just didn't care one way or the other, I think is what they're telling me. And so she's saying now what she's able to look back and see is, she said, if I had really tried to see things from her perspective, I couldn't have done that to my mother. I could not have put her through my death on top of all this other grief that she was in life she was dealing with. I would never have done that. And she's here to tell you that, and to, I'm going to say, beg forgiveness. I mean, I feel like you have long since forgiven her if there was a need for that. And I don't really feel there was. I think you just continued being your loving self. But they're just showing me, and Spirit brought through a message they've never brought through today. And so this is real special. And I don't know if I'm going to get into these cards, but I need to tell you this. You hear people talk about the chosen one, and that's not something you'll ever hear me talk about. Well, I won't say ever because I'm about to do it, but chosen people or the chosen ones and what that might mean. And there's a lot of different opinions about what that means. So in this instance, Spirit was giving me a download about this, what this meant, because they're saying you are a chosen one. And what this means in this context of this situation, in this reading and this message. I think one of the applications of that meaning is that many people that are incarnate at a certain time on the planet are here because of big changes that are going to happen and need to happen. Apologize. And because there is always a need for balancing energy on the planet. That's always what Spirit, energy, God, angels, guides, all that whole realm are trying to help with, is finding balance on the planet. And I'm trying to think of an analogy that will make this make sense for what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's say we have two pools, okay, and one pool has dark black water in it, and the other pool has nice clear blue water, or whatever, clear water in it. And so when we go through something as individuals and we go into that state of depression, it's human nature. We're going to stay there a little while. We got to work through it when we get out. But when we stay there, and especially those people who become bitter or vengeful and can't forgive, those people, not consciously, they don't know they're doing this consciously, most of them, but they're contributing to pouring dark water, in this case energy, into that black pool. And as more people pour into that dark pool and it fills up, it starts to overflow, and it affects other people, other situations, other surrounding energies. I mean, we are affected by energy, folks. We are energy beings. We are in a physical body, but a biggest part of us that you can't see with your eyes is energy. And so there are other people who go through maybe the same kind of challenges. They do their little pity party, and then they pick themselves up, and whatever time appropriate, everybody needs their own certain time, but then they get back in the game of life. They get back in here, and they are not jaded. They are not bitter. And in fact, if anything, they look for the lesson that challenge has brought for them, and they benefit from it, and they use that lesson to go about their lives. And they even can teach other people, well, you know what, I went through that. I did this and this, and they use that. It's like a resource they pull on to help other people. That's why a lot of healers and readers too, for that matter, have such dark, difficult lives, because every time they healed and they overcame that, they contributed to the bigger pool, and they now have a resource that a lot of people don't have. They can go to that deep, dark place to help other people. They can reach in there and pull out. I remember what that felt like. What can I do or say to help this person overcome theirs? And then that person is affected, and then you're building more good, clean, you're contributing to the clean pool. So I don't know if that's the very best analogy, but it's one that I think will make sense to a lot of people. So we all have a choice about what we do with what happens to us in life. It's not about what happens, because we all go through stuff, but it's about what we do with it. And so back to the chosen ones, I feel like there are certain numbers of people, I don't know if it's that magic number, that number I'm thinking of, that need to be here on the planet to keep balance, to keep energy in balance, to keep the people will always choose to get back up. It's not how many times you fall down, it's that you always get back up. Those people. And so in that regard, Spirit is saying you were chosen. Your soul was chosen because they knew you were strong enough to endure all of this and still get back up and still be positive and still reach out and touch other people in a loving way in your life. And that is that's what in this context they're saying you were chosen. And I know if you've been through a lot of stuff, that is not what you want to hear. Well, blank that. I don't want to be a chosen one, right? Because I know personally what all that feels like, and it's not fun. But hopefully it will give you, I don't know, a little strength maybe to keep going on, to know that your struggles have been for a greater good. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to get out, and hopefully you got my point. All right, now I've turned these cards over, and like I said, I don't know what these are going to say. I don't know if they're more about the same message. Let me just look at this real quick and see what we have here. It's under there. It's basically the same message, and it's a beautiful one, and I'll show you the cards. Well, I don't always interpret the cards like some readers do. For example, if you were doing a love reading, these cards speak to me a little differently because of the context and the kind of reading this is. So I'll just show you the cards here, and then I'll talk about what they are. So maybe sure there's no nudity in these cards. I haven't used this deck in a minute. Yeah, okay. So we have the Page of Wands, the Five of Swords, and the Strength card. So you had the chance. You started out. This is the Explorer page here on something new. You had the chance once you got your life back on. Well, no. After all these losses, you had to start your life again in whatever capacity, whatever that looked like. This is a card of winning at all costs, but it's also self-sabotage. You, like I was just saying, everybody has the choice whether they want to stay in that mire and that muck and that negativity or not. But you had the strength to not stay there. You had the strength to pull yourself out after this, basically life pulled the rug out from under you multiple times and in pretty close proximity, these occurrences. I think for a long time you felt like you were, and particularly when your daughter was alive, you felt like you were juggling a lot. You were overwhelmed. You didn't, sometimes you didn't know if you were coming or going, but I don't think you ever let her know that. You always were, what's that saying, large and in charge or whatever in her mind, in her heart. And yeah, you this has double meaning, the World card. You had many endings. The world is the ending. It's the end of the fool's journey, the end of a cycle. And I think that's what Spirit is telling me, is that you have now, all of this ended. This cycle of loss and grief has ended for you. And the Seven of Swords, yes, this can be lying and cheating and all that. It can also just mean strategy. And that's what I feel like. You have a strategy. You, the person you are, whether you did this consciously or subconsciously, or your soul came in and said, hey, we're going to pull you up by your bootstraps to help you to get back in touch with the loving aspect of life, because you have still a lot of love to give. And again, I'm just pulling them off the bottom of the deck, which is largely where my readings come from. This is innately who you are, as this Queen of Cups. You are full of love. And again, you were brought here precisely because of that, because of the love that you are capable of. And so Spirit is saying, it's time for you to start over again. And you know, the Fool, if you can look, I'll see if I can get it where you can focus without a glare. He's standing in a cliff and he's looking up. He's not even looking down at where he's about to put his next step. And he's very likely going to fall off that cliff, or he's going to sprout wings, one or the other. So it's a risk. It's a risk to take that leap. And Spirit is saying, but you are fueled by good memories. You are choosing this. They're saying, very important, they're making this clear to me. This is nostalgia, thinking back on the past, on happy memories and loving memories. You are choosing to think of the happy memories, not the losses. And because of that, you will have victory over this grief and over these losses. That you are empowered. You are becoming empowered as an emperor again in your life, which I think you've lived that way from everybody else outside of you looking at you. That's who they thought you already were. But you didn't feel that way. You know, it's kind of like sometimes we feel like we're wearing a mask and people can't see that we're really all wounded and weak little wounded children inside. But they're saying, but now you're starting to own this. You're starting to see this is not only how other people see you, very accomplished, very strong and confident, but that you're really starting to embody that and owning that is who you are. And it's taken a good bit of patience with yourself. You have had to have patience with yourself. But judgment is here, and judgment is a reawakening or an awakening. Either way, it's Gabriel blowing the trumpet of the souls rising from the dead. Excuse me, for Judgment Day. And I'm trying to cover these little guys at the bottom here that don't have the clothes on. But it's the Judgment card. So this is you. I also feel like this card is karma. For me, it's karma, because what is judgment? We're going to get back what we put out, right? Tarot says that's the truth, and I'm just continuing to pull from the bottom of the deck. Because when you, oh, this is beautiful. Okay, there's two meanings here. I love this. And they're saying, okay, they're bringing you something. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, this is beautiful. Wow. That because you gave love so willingly and unconditionally, now Spirit is going to bring back love, bring you love. Your karma is going to be bringing in love for you. A very nice, this is often the, well, the Knight of Pentacles is the second slowest moving energy in the tarot, but he always gets to his destination. And I think twofold, this could be somebody coming into you, but it's going to be a little while, or it could be it's taken you a while to come back to yourself in this situation, but you're going to find your happiness again. And you're going to be fertile in your life again. The Empress is all the queens in one. So you're coming back into a place of stability and love and truth and clarity and action and empowerment. All of those qualities are coming back that you've had time now to heal. You've taken the time you needed to heal, and now your wishes are going to come through. Your wishes are going to come true. That is so lovely. Now, I don't think you can see this. I think it's hidden from you right now. Maybe you're on the verge of it. That's what I'm feeling. The energy is you're on the verge of it. Pardon me. But Spirit is saying, don't give up, that you have a new beginning coming, a passionate new beginning. And the Sun, I love this, is the happiest card in the deck. You will be happy again. You will be happy again. Oh, this is a beautiful reading. Oh, it was started out kind of bittersweet, whatever. All right, let me ask, is there anything else? She's just saying thank you so much for being such a big, she's emphasizing big, beautiful soul. There are a lot of beautiful souls, but yours was so big that you could take all of this on and that you volunteered, because I do believe we sign on for these. These are, you know, things we sign on for before we come into this life. Of course, we forget that until we're here and we're living it. We don't remember that. That's by design. But she wants to acknowledge that you are such a big soul, and she is very, very grateful for you being in her life and holding her up. And she's saying you still do that. What is it that you see? There's a picture that you have still of her holding the baby. And she says that you still honor that, and you still, sometimes you think you pick it up and you kiss it and you hold them. Oh, it's gonna make me cry. Ooh, don't get me started. And she's just acknowledging that she sees you doing that. Yeah, I think it's like on a dresser, or and you pick it up. It's not like hanging on the wall. I don't get that sense. I feel like you pick it up. It's like you kiss it and you hold it close to your heart. Yeah, I think you kept some clothing of the baby's, was maybe a christening gown or something that you had bought. Something like that you had kept of the babies that you still have. She's saying hold on to that there's another, maybe you're going to unite with a family, and this could be a grandchild or something from another family that you haven't met yet, but you might be about to, that you can pass that on to. So she's saying hold on to that you'll get to pass that on. Okay, anything else? Okay, that's it. She's pulling her energy back. And I'm about to lose my voice, so I need to stop. Thank you so very much for being here again. If you stayed to the end, I'm very, very grateful, and would be even more grateful if you'd hit that like button on the way out, as I said, and subscribe, because hopefully I'll be bringing through who knows who. Again, I'm not in charge of that. Spirit just cues me up and cues them up and puts it together, and magic happens, I like to think. Thank you all again for listening and watching my video. I'm very, very grateful, and I wish you all many, many blessings. And until next time, take care. Bye.